You're in the right place if the thought of saying no freaks you out. If you numb out, distract, shove down your feelings, maybe with food, maybe with Netflix, maybe with scrolling or games. If you invest a lot of time or energy trying to win the approval of others, like if your self-worth is tied to what other people think or how many likes or comments or whatever you get on a post, or if you have no time for yourself, but you'll drop anything to make time for anyone else. Welcome. You're my people. You're not alone. I really want you to consider this. Who benefits from you saying yes all the time? Certainly not you. It's not easy to say no because you care about others. You care so deeply. And I'm guessing you've been taken advantage of.
Welcome to the Employee to Entrepreneur channel. Please subscribe so every week you get to hear from amazing guests that share their stories and inspiration and motivation to help them in their journey, and hopefully it will inspire you as well in your transition from employee to entrepreneur. Welcome to this training segment. So I'm always excited about all of my training segments, but this particular skill is really important as you become a leader. That's why it's in the leadership section. One of the things that I learned as I started to develop in my entrepreneurial journey and transitioning from being an employee, and I was terrible at it as an employee, I will be honest. And I don't know that I was really that much better as an entrepreneur. But what I definitely found is this one particular skill, when I started to get better at it, understand it, and really master what it was about, I totally changed my journey's trajectory. And that skill is the ability to say no. And you might say, why is that such an important skill? And that's what we're going to learn today, because your trainer, Suzanne Culberg, is the master. She is the coach of saying no. She is the nope coach. She helps those people who are overgivers, the people pleasers, of which there are many of us in the world, and to set those boundaries and say no without feeling guilty. So I am really excited about her training. She comes to us all the way from Sydney, Australia. So we really do have international industry experts that are here to help you in your program. And I'm really excited to bring her on to really share tactical suggestions on creating these boundaries, elevating your leadership to say no. So she's going to give you a bunch of training, and then we're going to do a little bit of QA, possibly role play, just to make sure that you guys are gaining these skills. So you can watch this again and again, of course. And of course, as always, if this is an area that you struggle with, then you'll be able to go into your library and click on a link and be able to speak to her a little bit more. But right now, I want you to just stay focused and let Suzanne really show you some tactical tips to help you in this one area. So Suzanne, thank you so much for being part of our program. I really appreciate it. And I'm so excited to hear and take notes about what you're going to say.
Thank you so much for inviting me today, Anita. So welcome to How to Say No Without Feeling Mean, Without Feeling Guilty, Without Feeling Selfish. And now's the time, if you haven't done so already, grab yourself a pen, a paper, a beverage of your choice, and let's dive in. So with your pen and paper, and I love that this is recorded so you can pause, not that I'm going to come and check on your shoulder, but you'll get the most out of this if you do the activities. I'd love you to, on your journal, pen and paper, on a scale of 1 to 10, when it comes to saying no, where 1 is not at all, and 10 is I've totally got this, how comfortable do you feel right now? And you may have categories for this. I don't want you to overcomplicate it. So you might want to go like in your day-to-day personal life and in your business work life. How comfortable are you where 1 is not at all and 10 is I've got this? Because some people I work with, we can get really granular, like with your immediate family in your house versus, say, your in-laws, friends versus, I don't want you to do all that. I want just like overall in your life or work life and home life. And you don't need to share this with anyone. It's purely for you. And I really encourage you to do that. And then the next thing, in 1 word, not a sentence, not a phrase, you don't need to pause and journal for 20 minutes. In 1 word, how are you feeling right now about saying no? Pop that down in your journal. And I know Anita's already introduced me, but I'm going to do a really quick introduction. I'm Suzanne Culberg. I'm the Nope Coach. I talk really fast. So it's a good thing this is recorded so that you can watch it again or you can slow the speed down. I'm the mum of 2. I'm a sweary fairy, though I will keep it in check today when I present for other people. And I'm a wacky t-shirt lover. Didn't even look what I have today. For you guys, I have my Little Mermaid. I don't want to pee where the people are. I'm also an introvert. A little bit about you. You're in the right place if the thought of saying no freaks you out. If you numb out, distract, shove down your feelings, maybe with food, maybe with Netflix, maybe with scrolling or games, Candy Crush, anyone? If you invest a lot of time or energy trying to win the approval of others, like if your self-worth is tied to what other people think or how many likes or comments or whatever you get on a post, or if you have no time for yourself, but you'll drop anything to make time for anyone else. Welcome. You're my people. You're not alone. So now that you've got your journals out, now that we're established, first thing I want you to write about and take as long or as short as you like. When I ask people to journal, some people pause and write long. Some people just do some dot points just so you have something on the page for us to work with. First question, in what circumstances would you like to say no? I'll say that again. In what circumstances would you like to say no? Could be with clients, potential clients, could be in a current work situation, could be with your partner, could be with your kids, could be with your parents, whatever. In what kind of circumstances? You can be quite specific. Like when my parents ring and say, I know you're doing your little hobby, but could you? No. Or it could be someone's, could you stay back late? It'll take 5 minutes. It'll take 2 hours and you just want to say no. Next question, why is it so hard for you to say no? This one can be curious. Why is it so hard for you to say no? I suppose I don't need to pause because you guys can pause the recording. So I'll give you the third and final one. What were you taught growing up about saying no, and how was it modeled to you? Or maybe it wasn't. I'll say it again. What were you taught growing up about saying no, and how was it modeled to you, if at all? So I always encourage people, I know it's easy to, I just want to get to the meat or potatoes if you're vegetarian, like I just want to get into the training, but taking that time to answer those 3 questions so you have this framework for where you're standing right now, nothing's right or wrong, stirring these things up as uncomfortable as it can be is really helpful as we move into the main event. So like, why is it so hard for us to say no? Societal or cultural conditioning. Who benefits from us saying yes all the time? And what's the messaging we had growing up? A good girl or a good boy is your children should be seen and not heard. You want to be helpful. Like when I went to school, my primary school's motto, actually I should look if they've changed it, but literally, I'm showing my age now because it's quite some time ago, but the school's motto was others first, yourself last. And that was like indoctrinated into us over all the years of primary school. Others first, yourself last. Others first, yourself last. Talk about creating a society of people pleasers. And I really want you to consider this. Who benefits from you saying yes all the time? Certainly not you. Unlikely your immediate family and friends, but the person who's asking for the favor. So things to consider. What you allow will continue. So up until now, if you've been the yes boy, the yes girl, the yes person, it will continue. And it's not going to be like a 180. I wish I had a magic wand, but it doesn't work like that. It takes time. It's to unwind and recondition that. And the second thing is givers need to have boundaries because takers don't have any. So often when people come to us and they ask something and we say no, we try out saying no, and then they push back and, oh, you did it last. Oh, just this once won't hurt. Oh, you care about me, don't you? And all these little sayings that some are manipulative and some aren't. But basically, people want to get their own way. We all want that inherently. But when we really stand firm in saying no, not right now, not today, no thank you, the thing we've got to realize is we aren't anybody's last hope. I doubt anyone watching this is an emergency physician. Like the people asking us can ask someone else. And what's amazing is as you start to say no and put these boundaries in play, the people who like you're my last hope and without you all this sort of stuff will go and put that energy onto someone else. You're not the only person available to them, and you're not letting them down, but you're teaching them to be more resourceful. So something I want you to do is grab a piece of paper, like I dare you, people pleasers, tear it out of your journal, make it as scrappy as possible. She says, having one I've cut, here's one I prepared earlier. The little square piece of paper, doesn't need to be big. I encourage you to tear it out, or if tearing it freaks you out, pause this, go and grab loose leaf bit of paper. And on one side of this bit of paper, I want you to write yes. And on the other side, I want you to write no. I'll give you a moment to do that now. Simple yes on one side, no on the other. And I want you to think of something. Let's leave business aside for a minute. Something you want to do purely for you. What's a hobby? You might be like, a hobby? I don't have one of those. What's something you love to do? For me, I love to read. Like the more ridiculous, the better. I'm in the fantasy thing right now. I did crime for ages, but I'm moving more into fantasy. And what I want you to do is think about the thing that you plan to do, whether it be read, watch a movie, knit, garden, whatever. And with your little piece of paper handy, say you're sitting down, I'm just about to crack open my chapter. You're just about to dig into the ground or whatever. and one of your kids or your partner or someone comes over and is, could you just pick up my script, help me with my homework, whatever it is, nothing emergent. Nobody needs to go to the hospital here, but just the day-to-day, mom, dad, friend, could you just? What I want you to do is say yes to them, as in hold that little bit of paper. My light's not going to like it. So the yes faces them. Yeah, sure. I'll drop my book, my gardening, whatever it is to help you. What's facing you? When you're saying yes to others, what are you saying to yourself? No. And we do this all the time for everything. Have you ever sat down? I'm just going to write a blog. Oh, could you do this? And you're saying yes to them. Sometimes the biggest boundary is the boundary with ourselves. So I'm not immune to this. I'll be like, I'm going to record a podcast episode. I get everything set up, and then suddenly I get the urge to check the lint filter on my dryer. Or did I turn off the stove or something absolutely ridiculous? And it's kind of, if I say yes to that, if I leave my computer and go and deal with that, then suddenly there'll be dishes and there'll be folding and there'll be something else. Working from home is sometimes the curse, because if you're in an office or a co-working space, you can't get distracted by the housework. And the housework was never urgent until I sat down to do work on something, just saying. But this little piece of paper, it's so simple. This tool, this strategy, that most people will give me the nascent eye roll and they won't use it. But if you have this, and like I literally have a copy always in front of my computer to remind me when I get the thing to like the kids helping me with the homework, or my husband's, could you go pick up my script? Or I'm like, I've suddenly got to go and do the dishes, even though they're still going to sit there. I remind myself, like, I'm saying no to that so that I can say yes to me and get the activity done, either work activity or even just leisure activity that I had set out to do. Now, this piece of paper, it's simple, but it's not easy. If it was easy, you wouldn't be here watching this workshop. It's not easy to say no because you care about others. You care so deeply. You're generous with your time and your energy and your resource. You want to be open-hearted, but chances are you've also been hurt. Parts of you have been disrespected or silenced or ignored or overlooked because you were unable to say no. And I'm guessing you've been taken advantage of and your needs have been ignored. And when you've tried to speak up, people haven't listened, or worse, they've spoken over you. You don't mind, do you? You did it last time. It won't take you long, just this once, but you're so good at it. Yes, you do mind. No, you don't want to do it, but saying no more than once feels frustrating and rude. So what happens is we end up in this kind of resentment and bitterness. So there's so many layers to this, because outwardly we might look really compliant and the yes person and whatever, but inside we can be seething. So it's not like you haven't tried to say no before. It's not just say no and hope for the best. It's understanding how to navigate your emotions, like the anxiety, the guilt, potentially the fear. If I say no, I might lose that client. Or if I say no, they might not work with me. Or if I say no, I might lose my job or my relationship or my friendship or whatever. It's navigating that. It's the uncertainty of how your no will be received. Because often a lot of these conditioning is from childhood, where we didn't have a lot of the agency that we do now. So saying yes in that stage of our lives was adaptive, but now as an adult, it's maladaptive, but we haven't learnt yet how to navigate that. It's managing our nervous system, our fight, freeze, fawn response. I never heard of the fawn until recently. I've heard fight, freeze, but fawns, sure. And while I'm at it, would you like me to do this? People pleasers, fawners all over. So like, how do you know that you can say no, that your feelings are valid, if adults scolded you for saying no and displaying feelings when you were young? Of course you learnt to damp them down. So this is about like identifying, embracing, and actively cultivating the life you want, rather than avoiding emotions that feel too overwhelming and indulging in void filling activities. Like a lot of people that I work with, before I was the NOPE coach, before I did boundaries and saying no, I used to work in weight loss mindset. Because so many people were like, oh, I can't lose weight because I stay up late eating, or because I don't stick to the exercise that I planned, like my treadmill's an expensive clothes horse. This set of behaviors, this avoiding our feelings and staying up late, is so linked to our inability to say no, our overworking because we're trying to earn approval, or we're so worried about what other people think that we don't really take any time for ourselves. And instead of finding the next diet, because we all know what to do, we just don't do it, or the next planner, or the next time productivity hack, it's like the simple thing is having, as cliche as it sounds, work-life balance. These are the times I'm going to do my work activities. These are the times I'm going to do my self activities, and having a clear distinction between them, and realizing that other people have their agendas and activities, and their inability to manage their time isn't our problem. Like, I can think of like a really extreme example, and this happened way before I could say no. A friend messaged me at lunchtime and she's like, "Can you help me move house?" And I was like, "Oh, all right." At 6 a.m. the next day. And it's now, if you ask me that, we'd have a whole different situation. But someone else's ability to organize, plan their life is not an emergency for us. If her movers fell through or whatever else had happened, hire other movers. Think of something else. We just tend to put ourselves out all the time because we don't want to inconvenience others, but we end up constantly inconveniencing ourselves. So you may be thinking, okay, I get the piece of paper, Suze, but how do I say no to others without feeling mean, without feeling guilty, without feeling rude? Step one is awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. So being honest with yourself, like, this hurts. For me, to this day, the hardest people to say no to are my children. I don't know if you've ever seen the Shrek movie, and like Puss in Boots makes that face with the huge eyes and looks really sad. And Shrek's like, oh, I feel like that whenever my kids ask for something and I say no. That's the hardest. But being aware of that. Where, and if you've got your journal there, I want to pause it now. Where are the situations that you struggle most to say no? It's one of the questions I asked you at the outset. Really reflect on this. You could keep adding to this over time. If my boss asks me for something, for me, if anyone sends me something that says this is an opportunity, like an opportunity for exposure, I can't say no. But is it really an opportunity? What's required of you? Like, I've learned to ask a lot more questions before I say yes. So first step, awareness. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. Where in your life do you struggle to say no? And new ones will come up repeatedly. Step two, self-compassion. It's gonna suck the first few dozen times, but you can't get good at what you don't do. So if we were going to the gym, I always liken boundaries and building your no muscles like building a physical muscle. If we were all couch potatoes and we go down to the gym together and we see that rack of dumbbells and you see the really fit people like curling like the 20 or the 40 kilos, pounds, depending where you live in the world, you would know that chances are you couldn't lift that off the rack. And even if you did, you couldn't curl it. You'd know that. You'd understand that instinctively. Your physical body isn't there yet. But when we learn about boundaries and saying no, we're like, I've watched a training, I've got this, it's going to be so simple. It's not. You need to get the reps in. You need to build up your no muscle. So the first few dozen times, it's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to want to breathe into a paper bag or go, oh, I'll just do it next time, or wuss out. So the self-compassion that you can't get good at what you don't do and it's going to suck, and just you're getting the reps in like you would with the gym. When you first go to the gym, your body hurts a bit. When you first start saying no, sometimes your ego or your pride can hurt a bit. Pick situations where it's really easy for you to get the reps in. Like for me, I used to be the add-on sales sucker. Would you like fries with that? Would you like a corn cob? Do you want a bag? Do you want this? Do you want to upsize? I'd said yes to everything. If you're like that, do it. Like when you, would you like, no, thank you. Start there. Start in a shop where the person's job is to ask everyone. They're not going to be personally affronted if you say no. That they ask everyone. That is what they do. Start there. Start with little things. Start with people who don't yet know you. Start when you're walking. I don't know if anywhere outside Australia does this. Hang on one moment. I'll clear my throat. But here in our shopping centers, they have people in the middle who are like selling all sorts of stuff, and like all they're trying to talk to you about whatever. As soon as they start walking towards you, no thanks. Like practice that, build up your no muscle. And then step three is rebuilding your self-worth. When you take that hit, when you say no to someone who does push back or who does say that, don't you care about me, or something that begins to hurt. Rebuilding your self-worth, I link this to toddler energy. Toddlers don't care that they inconvenience you. Toddlers are demanding as, and we still love them. Toddlers melt down, they throw it around, they want this cup, like, and we don't go, oh, I just don't love them. Like toddlers, we love toddlers, and your people, your right fit clients, your family, they will love you. And in fact, they'll probably be relieved that you're asking for what you want. I've been with my husband for 23 years now. When we were first together, what do you want for dinner? Oh, I don't know, anything. Oh, let's go get pizza. Oh, I don't feel like pizza. Oh, let's go get Indian. Oh, I don't feel like Indian tonight. Oh, I don't know how we stayed together. And now he's, oh, what do you want for dinner? And I'm like, oh, what Mexican? He'll be like, let's go. He loves that I'm decisive. He loves that if he makes a suggestion, I'm like, yeah, no, how about this? It's not, you're not demanding. You're not a toddler saying, unless I get the blue cup, I'm going to throw myself on the ground. But you're speaking up, and your people will appreciate that about you. And the people who don't, who tend to fall away, perhaps they were not meant for you, because it's a relief to be around someone with good boundaries. It's a relief to be around someone who says no, because if you ask for something, their answer is genuine. They're not going to do it to make you feel good. They're not going to tell you the answer that you want to hear. And as you really begin to build this no muscle, like if somebody asks me for my opinion now, I'll be like, okay, do you want what I really think or what's going to make you feel good? Because I could do both, but you can start to ask people, what is it that they want from you? Because sometimes you just want to be cheer-led and sometimes you want real talk, and you get to offer that to people. And the final step in saying no to others without feeling mean is being willing to let some people go. It hurts, it stings. And there's a concept from an author called Martha Beck. She has a book, Steering by Starlight, and this concept she has in her book, it's called the empty elevator. She says, in life, I'm going to paraphrase it, but in life, we're all traveling in an elevator. And as you go from floor to floor, people get on and people get off. And sometimes when you start to set boundaries, this is how I've modeled her story, your elevator is currently full. Your life is full of people who know a certain version of you. And as you start to say, no, thank you, not now, I'm unavailable, some people will get off your elevator. They'll be like, and that's okay. And then as the elevator travels between floors, you might feel a bit lonely, or you might feel like, did I do the right thing? Oh my gosh, I'm alone. But then the doors open on the new floor and the new right fit people are free to come in. They couldn't come in before, it was full. And the people who know this version of you, who appreciate this version of you, can come in. And what's the most magical about this is sometimes you let people off on the lower floors, and as you lift on higher floors, they come back. They've traveled up their own concurrent elevator. They've had their own journey. I can't tell you how many past clients or people who have come back who weren't ready for me then, or we weren't a fit then, and now we've had a totally different experience. So be willing to let some people go. And the last thing I want to say is there's a quote by Glennon Doyle. She wrote Untamed. She said, every time you're given a choice between disappointing someone else and disappointing yourself, your duty is to disappoint that someone else. Your job throughout your entire life is to disappoint as many people as it takes to avoid disappointing yourself. Every time I hear that quote, I get chills, because saying no, people are going to be inconvenienced. People may be hurt. Their feelings may be hurt, but they're not harmed. You're not deliberately harming someone. Like, you really begin to help people build their own ability and reliance and things, because you're not enabling anymore. Like, a last example, my children one's just started high school and one's in primary school, and they used to ask me to help them with their homework. They still do. And at any time, and I drop everything and go and do it. This is not a business example, but sometimes the family examples land better. Anyway, I said to them, look, up until now, actually, this is a great boundary word, 3 words, up until now. You can use this with anyone. Up until now, this is what's happened. I've dropped everything to help you. I've stayed late at work. I've done this. You're owning your behavior in the situation up until now. So for me, it was like, up until now, I've dropped everything and helped you with your homework. And this is just not working for me. You don't need to give a whole long story. It's not working for me. So from here forward, I am available for homework until 7 p.m. And then after that, it needs to wait till tomorrow or the weekend or whatever. Like the window for homework help ends at 7 p.m. Kids are like, I get it. Within the week, my daughter comes to me at 10 p.m. So she should be in bed and I'm about to get into bed. Oh, Mummy, I need help with my homework. I've got to build a diorama. When's it due? Tomorrow. I'm like, honey, I told you that I was available for homework help until 7 p.m. I'm not going to help you, and you're not staying up now to do it. It's bedtime, go to bed. But I'm going to get a 0. I'm going to do this. All these things are coming up. That's what's going to happen, because me rescuing her doesn't teach her anything. And this is not a job interview. This is not a work. She's at school. She's learning this lesson now that she's going to get a 0. Ever since that moment where I held that boundary, never again has she come past 7 to ask for homework. So sometimes really saying no, feeling the disappointment, feeling the hurt feelings, sometimes being on the barrage of you're the worst mum, friend, wife, colleague, worker in the world, but realizing that's them venting their stuff. It's got nothing to do with you, especially if you've clearly stated beforehand. Yeah, you do have a bit of guilt sometimes, but the knock-on effect from that is never again have I needed help at homework past 7, and my life feels so much better for that. As we wrap up this thing, and I know Anita's going to come back and ask me some questions, what I'd like you to do first is, when it comes to saying no in your journal, on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is not at all and 10 is I got this. After listening to this, after doing this journaling, how comfortable do you feel right now? And in one word, how are you feeling right now about saying no? And what was your biggest takeaway, aha, perspective shift from this training? Really encourage you to write it down. If you want to send it through to me, that's all cool. But mostly this is for you, because sometimes there's so many trainings in this program. There's like 50 of them or something. And if you're anything like me and you're like over consumer, you'll be like listening to them all going, these are all great. But if you write down your one biggest perspective shift takeaway that you can take forward and implement, instead of listening to 50 things and going, why isn't my life changing? This is the thing that I'm going to change as a result of this. That will be the game changer. And the other thing that I just want to say is, if your number from 1 to 10, so say before listening to this, you were like, I feel about a 6 about saying no, and now you've gone down to a 3, don't panic. The whole idea isn't for us to go up all the time. Sometimes the reason, once we're talking about it and looking at examples and thinking about elevators and people and whatever, it gets stirred up. We actually feel more freaked out. That is okay. So some of you will be like, actually, I feel a bit better about this, and your number would have gone up. Great. Some of you might be about the same. Some of you might be like, oh my gosh, this was like the pond. Now I've chucked a stone in there and there's all mess everywhere and I feel worse. That's okay too. However you feel is valid. This is just a self-check for you to see, how this is going. And basically, you're not going to, unfortunately, listen to one training and move off into the sunset, the same as you wouldn't go to the gym, do one workout and be like, oh my gosh, I'm Mrs. Universe or whatever. It's going to be a process. Things are going to be stirred up. But looking at whereabouts in your life you are struggling with this, and little things that you can put in place to start moving the needle forward and getting your reps in, and realizing where your limits are. Like, as I said, my hard limit for homework is 7 p.m. After that, I'm done. Because at the end of the day, it's my kids' homework, it's not mine. And what am I teaching them? If I did it all for them, that there's going to be stages in life when mum's not around. Saying no to people isn't being rude or mean. It's helping them build the skills that they'll need. When you carry a coworker, when you overwork for a client, when you overdo something for your kids, you actually are not helping them. And they might not realize that in the moment, and they might not realize that for years. And sometimes, as I said, the client will get off the elevator all in a huff, and you'll think you'll never hear from them again. And then you'll meet them on a higher floor and they will be like, thank you, that's exactly what I needed. And as long as you feel clean and, as Glennon Doyle quote says, disappoint everyone else but not yourself, then your life gets so much richer for it. Anita, you got any questions?
Oh, that was amazing. I took so many notes and starred things. So I have some questions, but those were amazing strategies. I hope everyone did what Suzanne said, paused and wrote down. And I love your point about take one nugget and just do the one thing. You can always come back and watch this and pick up other things, but one is great. So I do have a few questions, because this training and this program is all about transitioning from the employee to the entrepreneur. Now, some people who are watching this are literally in the transition, meaning they juggle a full-time job and a side hustle entrepreneurial business. And then there will be others in the program who are further along in their entrepreneurial journey, but the reason they're taking it is because something's not quite going. They're stuck in the employee mind. So in relation to those types of people, and that was obviously me, how do we create the boundaries that you're not doing everything for everybody because you're still juggling a job and a side hustle, which is a category, and then also just the employee mindset that often is, oh my gosh, if I say no, I'll never get promoted. And when you're an entrepreneur, there is no concept of never get promoted, because you are your own boss, your own CEO, you're your own person. But the mindset is, I'm never going to move ahead.
Yes, that mindset is so intrinsic and ingrained. And I love how you've brought attention to this, because we can carry this over from the workplace and copy and paste it onto the entrepreneur life without realizing it. So some examples. So it translates to me as a lack of boundaries. And in the workplace, sometimes we don't feel we have as much agency because we are employed, but we carry that energy into our business where we have all the agency because we're the person in charge. So how this shows is, if firstly I'll be looking at, and I'm sure you've got this covered in another area, what are your policies for your business? As in, if somebody no-shows, if somebody shows up late, if somebody wants to pick your brain and have a coffee chat, and then actually it's them asking you for things, like what are the things in your business that you have? And so say, for example, even from early in business, I had a 24-hour cancellation and reschedule policy. That was just my legals, my stats, it was everywhere, but I never upheld it. I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And the thing is, the excuses, I hesitate to use the word, but the reasons people cancelled or showed up late, like in a 9 to 5, in an employee situation, you get paid regardless. The workplace carries that cost. But when you're an entrepreneur, if people are showing up late, not turning up or whatever, you carry all of that. So to really hold that in place, like for me now, I can't be the arbiter of what the reason is. So I don't even ask, or if people tell me it's this is the schedule, this is what you've signed up for, but it takes a while to get there. But the thing is, because you out of this sense of I don't want them to drop me or I don't want this. But what I think the answer to a lot of this is how you onboard, how you bring people into your business. You clearly articulate, here's my policy. It's 24 hours, no rescheduling or whatever it is.
Thanks for watching. Hopefully you were inspired just as I was by our amazing guest. Please subscribe because every week we will be interviewing someone else who's made that transition from employee to entrepreneur. In the comments, please share the one nugget that you heard that will change your business as well.